do you just want to say a little bit how you started out, especially, with both healing and physical? That'd be great.
Yeah, so there's a light. So the way I got into healing is when I was 18. I was in Manchester in the UK, doing a bit of psychic development with a group. The group already did a form of spiritual healing. So when it came to the healing part, they were like, do you want to take part? I was like, being 18, I was like, put your hands on someone at the end, you come through. How hard could it be? So I was like, yeah, I'll give it a go. So I was instructed by the group to work on this woman's stomach. Went to start, felt this very strong presence behind me. Started seeing hands go into her stomach. And that for me kind of kicked off and started with my psychic surgery pathway. So then I was researched for that for 5.5 years through the Scottish Society of Psychical Research and another organisation called PRISM. And the whole time I was doing psychic surgery, I had a good friend who was a physical medium who kept telling me to sit the physical. And I kind of kept putting it off. And then eventually one night I did decide to sit. And thankfully we actually had a phenomenal first time. So it just kind of built from that really over the years.
So basically you're saying really, you are actually a natural physical medium. I was talking to other people on the weekend about natural physical mediums. They seem to have started, many of them have started really, really early. They just knew through an experience or a coincidence of friends, or they came into physical mediumship very early and had phenomena nearly always from the beginning. Is that true?
I always say that simple minds make great mediums. I think everyone's got an ability. It's just like painting. Some people can paint masterpieces without any training. Some can learn to do it with training, and some are always going to struggle with stick men. Hello.
Hey,
hello, Jimmy. How are you going?
Hello, friends. How are you?
Good. Everyone is muted, Jimmy. So I have a question for you to start off. Do you want people to ask their own questions so you can hear their voice? Or can I just read the questions out because there are nearly 90 people here?
Well, either way works for me, so I work with whatever's comfortable for yourself.
Okay. So, have we got any questions in the chat? No. So, I start off because I spoke to some people about physical mediumship and they had some interesting questions. First of all, for physical mediumship, how do you choose the medium and who chooses it? Does the person who will work with them chooses it, or is it already planned before they come, or how does that go?
First and foremost, the mediums will make the choice. However, the choice will be made before they physically incarnate. The whole process of the physical incarnation is to carry out the experience of what you've chosen to learn and go through. So within my side of life, that decision is chosen, and then you pick the team who are going to work with you, who will have the different expertise, and then they work with you throughout your life.
Okay, so, and does the medium, to do physical mediumship, do they have certain strengths or abilities, or can everyone learn the skills, really?
You must understand you are a spirit first and foremost. You never lose the ability just because you're in a physical body. So anyone on your side of life can work with my side of life. However, what you have to take into account is you may not have chosen a lifetime where you're going to be working with my side of life. You may have chosen to be a doctor or a lawyer, and your guides from my side will work with you in that way rather than communication with my side. So if you've chosen to carry out that pathway, it'll be provided to you. But it's not that you don't have the ability. Those who work within your side, the reason we pick our mediums and work with our mediums is because we understand their energy. So we're going to get better results with those mediums than a random person.
But everybody could do it, you say?
Indeed, you are first and foremost spirit. So everyone has the ability. You don't lose the ability.
Okay, I have Cindy, a question about energy exchange. Cindy, you need to write the question because I have to read it. Thanks, girl. Jimmy, please tell us about the planes of existence across the veil. Thank you.
So the best of my knowledge and understanding, once you reach my side of life, there's 10 levels of progression. And we don't go into a lot more detail than that, but to make it easier for the mind to understand it, we can class it as 10 levels of progression. Now, the first stages are about leaving behind the material wants and needs. Indeed, you have experiences and energies within your side of life, your side being aware of the duality, that you won't get in the higher realms, which is probably the easiest way to describe it. So once you've learned everything you can from your side of life, and from that level, you then move on to a much higher and lighter vibration. But you'll always be learning, you'll always be experiencing, and you'll always be growing. And indeed, the more you progress, the more you become aware of the different aspects of yourselves, the more you won't just be the singular personality which you recognize yourselves as now.
If a sitter is interested in information about an event that's already happened, or even if they are interested in an event that might happen, how would you acquire the information? In other words, what resources or sources do you use or have at your disposal, and what is the process you go through?
Now, every moment that will ever occur within your side of life is occurring right now. Every past, every future, every birth, every death as you experience it is occurring right now. It's only your perception which makes you experience this moment as an individual moment. So when we work with your side of life, we can look down your timeline. We can look at the decisions that you will make or have made, and from that we can deduce what actions you will take. So if you're meant to have that information, then working with your guides and helpers, they can provide that information to you. You yourself have the ability to tap into the energy and get that information at will. However, if it is not necessary for the lessons you want to go through, that information will not be provided to you.
Okay.
If you want to, information that wants to be provided to you, the best advice would be to be sitting within the power to put the question to your guides or to play to your abilities, whether that's clairvoyantly, through your dreams, or through some other form of mediumship to gain that answer. But remember, you'll only get the information if it's necessary to know that information.
Yeah, I just think, and I'm not sure because everybody's muted now, but I was thinking that the person maybe was asking if I asked about an event in my future. So how would you get the information? You would look down my timeline and go into my energy and then go through my timeline, or you just know it? How does that happen?
You know, once I have an impression of your energy, I can look down your timeline and see where that energy evolves and what choices you make and how that pans out for you. So I can do that. But again, the information I can then impart to you would only be if it's necessary for you to know.
So if you don't need to know, you just wouldn't go into it and that's it.
Indeed, now a lot of times when I'm working with your side of life, I already have the answers to the questions you want answered, but I also have the awareness I'm not able to give that information. And indeed, I'll have your own guides and your own helpers making sure that I don't give any more information than I meant to.
Okay, because you are the mouthpiece.
Indeed, yes.
Are you able to tell us if there is a way to heal the onset of dementia? Or that would be avians, wouldn't it, really?
Indeed, the other team would be better suited to this. But again, to look at the energy of your answer, please understand I do have helpers here who can provide information to me if it's a subject I'm not knowledgeable about. Now, to this, I'd advise you, or what I'd be advised to tell you, is that you have to first of all look at the cause, and each individual is going to be different. But a lot within your cell life, the biggest things you should be focusing upon is diet and what you're putting into the body, as this could be one of the best ways to address getting this condition in your later lives.
Okay, thank you. We have heard that physical mediumship can be now demonstrated in light. Is that correct? Instead of darkness, is that correct?
In the right circumstances, yes. Now, I'm aware that many on your cell life want to work to light conditions, and there are many teams within my cell life that are working towards that. But please understand, my friends, some teams will need to work with their dark with the medium, depending on how that medium builds the energy and can sustain the energy. Indeed, if you're wanting to work towards lightened conditions, it may be more beneficial to you to start in the dark, allow it to develop, and then you'll be able to take it into the light. But indeed, if you do really want to be working in lighted conditions, put it to your team, allow them to work with it, but understand that there will be limitations at time, and there'll be many reasons why certain phenomena can or can't be produced within light. But yes, there are many teams that are working to produce phenomena within your lighted conditions.
And your team is already working a lot of time in light now, aren't they?
We've had a little bit of practice, yes.
Yes, you have. Can most circles who sit faithfully have success in developing physical mediumship?
Now, often we're looking at your side of life and groups are not getting any development, as they would class it. We often get the blame, and it's actually not our side of life that's causing the problem. Most of the time, the problem is within your side of life. If there is disharmony in the group, if the way you're sitting is not correct or conducive to what it is you're trying to achieve, this is going to create blockages. And then all we can do is try to help you overcome those blockages before we can move forward. But indeed, yes, all the groups within your side of life, as long as there's harmony there, as long as we can take control of the energy, then we can work with the energy.
So is it an understanding which we maybe didn't have so much before, that it is just so important that we do know who is in charge of the energy, because sitters can take the energy of the spirit team very easily?
Indeed, even when we are in control, we can lose control very quickly, and this can create phenomena that become quite erratic. You can also see mediums who sit a lot, possibly publicly, but not within their home circles, that often the phenomena will become repetitive because it becomes conditioned within the subconscious mind, and then we have to follow that pattern rather than develop it any further.
How in regards to home circles, are there certain numbers mediums should have home circle, or the more the better, or just a few would help if they're harmonious? What would be the better outcome for your side in that?
In regards to home circles and development, always remember that less is definitely more. Every time you introduce a new energy, that's a new energy we have to harmonize with, and there are many different factors which can influence a person's energy, such as what they've eaten that day, what's going through their mind, how they're feeling within their own intentions. So every person you add is another energy we have to compensate for and harmonize with. So we often find we can do this with less people and get better results than having lots of people. Indeed, they will provide more energy, but that energy is not beneficial to us if it's not harmonious.
For those on your side working with physical mediums here, do they work more with energy now or more with ectoplasm? Or
indeed, the process of working with your side of life does not change. All that has changed is your understanding within your side of life of the mechanics of how it works. And indeed, it's going to depend upon the individual. Now, we do a lot of work with the photoplasm and the energy-based work with a lot of new mediums. And this will be essential to work with your lighted conditions and to work with your technology. However, we still work with the ectoplasm with a lot of mediums because we tend to have more control with the ectoplasm than we do with the photoplasm and the energy-based phenomena.
Would you just explain why it is you use more photoplasm with the light and not ectoplasm? How the light affects the different energies?
You have to understand the biggest problem with light is it disperses energy very quickly. So as we're trying to introduce phenomena into light, the energy we build in is being broken down by the lighted conditions or any object that's creating light or an electromagnetic field. So in certain wavelengths, we can find that we can build the energy and we can work the energy more effectively or for longer periods in that lighted conditions. So when we work with this, we will often build photoplasm or cover the ectoplasm in the photoplasm. Therefore, when we're then showing you the phenomena, you are seeing phenomena which is protected by the photoplasm. So while that is being introduced to the light, the photoplasm is being broken down, but the ectoplasm within it is safely protected, so it won't harm the medium. But because we're using the ectoplasm, it means we have more control within that experiment, which is why we carry it out that way.
Thank you, Timmy. Does the spirit world understand when a person is willing and eager to be of service, but is having trouble making contact? What would you then want us to do?
Now, this is a misconception within your side of life. Many on your side think they are willing and they're open, but within their mind or within their psyche, they have an intention in mind. They have an intention of what they want to achieve and what they want to happen and how they want it to happen. So this creates a blockage when working with your side of life. Sometimes we make the best development and the quickest development as you not experience time in mediums that really are happy to just be part of the process and are happy with anything that happens. This is why a condition often with seances in your side of life is to go in with no expectation. Because an expectation will affect the energy. It will direct the energy. So if we're wanting to take it in a different direction, because we know that we have to take it in that direction to reach where you're wanting to get, but you're holding in your mind how you want it to be, that creates a blockage that sometimes we have to work with, and it can detract away from what you're wanting to achieve, and it can slow down the process.
Thank you very much. Okay, Daniel, what did you do when you were alive in this plane, and can you tell us a little bit about your life here?
Now, I was a very religious man, but my religion was in the form of a glass. And indeed, to that, I was very devout, and I was very into spirit. Whiskey being my favourite. I was not a spiritual man. I did go to church when I was younger, but I was never a man of the cloth. And indeed, I didn't believe in life after death when I walked our side of life. I've never been so happy to be wrong. Once I returned to spirit side of life, I still went through a lot of material wants and gains. I found out that happy hour lasts a lot longer here than it does over there. And then eventually I began to move beyond the material wants and desires, but I still wanted to work with your side of life. So I was advised by my guides and helpers, because you still have them when you get to this side of life. They won't just go, well, you pass over now, we're done. They still work with you, they still guide you, and they still help you. So because I had a desire to still work with your side of life, they advised me to get into the physical mediumship and to be the mouthpiece for this medium as my own medium is developing. So indeed, when I come forward and work with your side of life, I will come through it different perspectives. There's an aspect of myself which is still attached to the material world and still has the material desires and wants. And indeed, certain phenomena such as reincarnation, for my own personal development, I am aware the process occurs, but I've never experienced it myself. I've only got that insight from other entities who are more advanced in their own development.
Thank you very much. Who are we? How many energies are we at one time?
Now, if you want to get really philosophical there, I would say that every life that ever exists is the one life. It's only your perspective which makes you see your life as an individual moment. But indeed, every life that ever is lived or has been lived as you experience time is the one life.
Is it possible for spirits who are still in lower stages of development to connect with us?
Indeed, it is entirely possible. Now, there is misconceptions within your side of life. So to clear something up, I want to make clear to you, for an energy to work with your energy, it has to have your permission first and foremost, because it is your energy and it's your reality that you've created. Secondly, it has to understand your energy. So if I work with the best physical medium in your side of life, and then I go on to another medium, I can't pick up where I've left off with that medium. You are a completely different energy. I'd have to go back to the drawing board and build it out again. I can take the experiences I've had with the previous physical medium and may have a better understanding of how to build certain phenomena, but it would still take time to build. So every individual on your side of life is a different energy that has to be worked with. But please understand, when you get to my side of life, you don't know all the answers. Even within your physical team, a lot of times when phenomena happens, people like myself will not know the outcome. We don't know if the phenomena will be successful or not. It's an experiment to us as much as it is to you. Now, there are people or personalities within those groups who do know how the outcome will be and why we've gone through that lesson. But it's not only your side of life that's gaining the experience and the lessons there. We are still learning the lessons from our side of life.
Thank you, Jimmy. Hi, Jimmy. Thank you for being here. Can you please tell me, do children go to the highest realm in heaven? Thank you very much, Annie.
So everyone, when they return to my side of life, the spiritual sphere, whatever you want to call it, will find themselves in a situation will have helped the personality that has been left from your side of life to continue to grow and be nurtured within my side of life. And it will be different to every individual. An example I will often use, if you were to find yourself passing in an accident, you may find yourself in a hospital situation once you return to my side of life. And indeed, in time, as you move beyond the material wants and needs, you will continue to move on your spiritual journey or on your path of progression. Now, nobody gets special treatment. It doesn't matter if you're a king or a pauper within the physical side of life. Everyone goes back to the same place when they return to my side of life. And it's an individual's journey. So you can take as long as you experience time to progress. But indeed, this isn't just for the human race, this is your animal kingdom as well. They're not any more advanced or less advanced than anyone else.
Thank you. What is the single most step to connect with one's spirit guide? How will they make themselves known initially? Telepathically?
So a misconception here, I would say, to your side of life, is there are many who want to know about who their guide is, where are they famous in life, what are they doing now? And we understand where you're coming from and we appreciate it. But if you really want to work with your guide, what you should be looking here is how their energy is working with you. How are they building their energy with you? In which way? Is it a healing modality? Is it a mediumship modality? If you can focus on how the guide is working with you rather than who the guide is, you find you get a lot more answers and a lot quicker. And another misconception as well, there are many in your side of life who do have many guides working with them. I think that they're very special because they have 10 guides where your man down the road only has one guide. To this I would say, the more guides you have means the more help you need. So the less guide you have, the less help you need.
Yes, that's true. Do we have more than one exit point in our current lifetime?
So a slight misconception there. You will have periods in your life where you may have something like an out-of-body experience or a near-death experience. And this has been chosen in order to make a drastic change within your life or to be able to activate certain things within your DNA that makes your body more sensitive afterwards. So a lot of people who have near-death experiences find themselves more spiritually attuned once they return from that near-death experience. And that's because chemical processes in the body has allowed the body to become more sensitive to extrasensory perceptions that they weren't currently aware of prior to that experience. However, nobody will return to my side life before they're meant to and in a way that they're not meant to. And I've never met someone who's got to my side life by accident.
Jimmy, I think you answered this already. What is your incarnation background?
The last one that I am aware of and I talk of is the one of Jimmy being an Irishman in Galway, being fond of the drink, not thinking of his life beyond the physical sphere, and finding myself a very pleasant shock.
And you found out you couldn't swim.
I learned that as well, yes. You'd be glad to know I haven't taken up lessons on this side of life. Some of you don't believe that I can strike twice in the same place, but I don't like to take the risk.
Okay, Frida asked, can other energies come in beside you, Jimmy? I think other energies are there with knowledge. Also, does your medium come back into yourself when we say his human name?
So when I work with the medium, this is what I do is I subdue the medium's consciousness. So like a dream-like state. The deeper I can allow the mind to go into that dream-like state, the more his brain will pick up on my intentions and my intelligence rather than his own. The more likely my thought and what I want to say will get across to you. Now at times there will be interference where the mind will come up and interfere, and I have things that I can do to get the mind to go down again, whether that's a chemical change in the body or using certain words which are triggers to the medium's brain to bring the mind deeper. Now, one of the reasons we'll often say not to use the medium's name is it becomes a trigger for the mind to become active, or the medium's consciousness to become active. So indeed, it is a bit of a battle anytime we work with your side of life. And it's not just with this medium, it's with any medium. When we come together like this, there are still many within my side of life who also come as an opportunity to learn and grow. And indeed, there are a team of entities here giving me the information for subjects that I'm not that knowledgeable about, as well as those entities there making sure I don't say the wrong thing or give too much information away, as I do have a habit of doing that.
And we are loving that. If you think that someone has passed and then all of a sudden on your computer it's showing a death notice of that person, what does that mean? Is the deceased wanting to give you a message?
Indeed, this is entirely possible. What's often happening in these cases, again, because we're not going by time, that personality is returned to our side of life. They've gone through the healing process. They've understood the process of making contact with your side of life. And then they've stepped in at that timepiece, which is moments after their physical death, but maybe many months or years as they experience time from our side of life. Other times, it's your own sensitivity within your own energy that you notice something has changed within your reality. And in this, you can be connected. Now, many of your animal kingdom are already aware of this process, and the human race does have this ability. Sadly, the more you've got into your material wants and desires, you've forgotten about this ability, but it's still an innate ability within your DNA.
Thank you. Can you please explain how apports work?
So there are different processes for this. We can take objects that are within your side of life, and it doesn't have to be your time period. It can be any time within the human existence. And that apport is brought into the room, or the seance room. The process we will often use, if you can imagine an object in a place and not in a place at the same time, and your seance room, the object is not there and there at the same time, the process is changing those belief systems and changing that reality. That's probably the easiest way to describe it. There's a lot more steps in between that, but we'll start you off there. Now, the other problem we have is the medium's build-up and the medium's psyche. Some medium's energy are better suited for certain crystals or spoons or kinds. And this is why you won't necessarily get a sphinx appearing from ancient Egypt. If the possibility is there and there is the need to, it can be done. But most mediums find that their energy is best suited for bringing certain types of phenomena. And that's why certain types of apports are given to certain types of medium.
And also, can you just speak about how it can be transferred when physical mediums sit together and one medium is very fond of a phenomena as evidence, for instance, and they really have it in your mind how you might have to do this phenomena with your medium to then do other jobs, how it is transferred.
So if you had a seance there and one of your sisters is gone, I really want to see the trumpet move tonight. And they're really holding on to that idea. It's all they've come from. They don't care about their loved ones walking around, if their nan's okay. They just want to see a trumpet move. So they're sitting there with that in their mind. Now we want to try materialization. Say, as we try to build that energy you want in a trumpet is creating a blockage. Now we can try to harmonize, we can try to overcome it, we can talk to you about it. But if that blockage is still there, the only way we may be able to get past that is to do the phenomena you want and then to go to do the experiment you want. Now, in extreme cases, you having that wanted that trumpet moving may create such a blockage that we can't get control of any of the energy and we can't do any phenomena.
And why is it so that, for instance, like with the crystals, at the beginning, one medium had crystals all the time as apports, and then other mediums also suddenly started to work with crystals and bringing apports, a lot of stones and crystals, and we have now 4 or 5 of them. So why is that one started and now so many others do the same? Is it because you all work together with all the mediums?
I think there was a closing down sale over here.
For stones.
Indeed, now when your mediums hear about certain parts happening or certain types of phenomena are happening with a different medium, that can sometimes be intentional to implant a seed. Other types of phenomena are contagious. So once we've been able to do it with one medium, we can replicate it with different teams and different mediums. So you'll find if you look at the data within your side of life and different mediums, you will find that certain types of phenomena will go through phases within your side of life. You may have a 2-month period where every circle's finding negative materialization, then another 2-month period where everyone's getting their parts, and then they die down. And that's because we are experimenting and working with that group energy at that time as you experience time within your side of life.
Thank you so much. Any advice for my physical phenomena circle known as the Shambhala circle to assist our development, and what types of phenomena is Spirit working on? Thank you.
Now, to be able to answer this, I need to hear from the person directly to get an impression of their energy.
Okay. Winter, would you like to just ask that question?
Hi, Jimmy. Thank you for being here. And I wanted to ask, because I remember with Leslie Flint, circles would ask him. I have a circle known as Shambhala. We've been sitting together 8 years. And any advice from Spirit to assist our development And what types of phenomena is spirit working on? And you started to address that in your last question from Inge, that spirit was going from groups to groups. So I was just curious as well if they're involving my circle and what types of phenomena. Thank you.
Now, as I get an impression of your energy there, I am aware there's a bit up around the throat there. So there's potential there for our parts, as we were talking about, but more specifically, if we would expand on your own energy, they seem to be working a lot with the precipitation at the moment, or trying to build towards precipitation at the moment. Now, tied into that, there is a little bit of direct voice, which is currently happening. What you may find, though, is that direct voice will go quiet for a while because they've been that energy to put it towards precipitation for the moment, if that makes sense to you.
Okay, now next was Christina. On a 1 to 10 scale of dark to light, how would you rate the spiritual status of Earth's population?
Right, I don't know if I'd even give you a 1 yet. You still don't understand that you are spirit first and foremost. You very much walking around in the dark, and indeed you sit in the dark to find the light. Mankind still has a lot to learn, but you are getting there. But for the moment, I'm going to put you just below 1 for the moment, because you still got a lot of potential and you still got a lot to learn there.
Oh, wow, that's not a good rating. Thank you very much, Jimmy. Okay, ectoplasm is old. An old head. Why is it ordinary camera now gets the magnificent results?
So the potential has always been there. What you have to understand, when we work with your side of life, we do have limitations. One of the biggest limitations we have to work with is where your consciousness, your psyche is at the time. Now, whenever we work in, say, a seance condition, we're always working towards the individual with the least amount of experience, because that's our limiting point. So the more experience that you have, the more we can often tend to do, because we have better energy to harmonize with, we have a better understanding with that group set. Now, within your understanding, you're still very much learning. So we have to work to where the limitation is at. We would love to be working in your life conditions. We'd love to be working with your technology. But the biggest problem is not that we can't do the phenomena. It's because we don't have permission, because your own understanding is not at that stage. But every now and then we will plant the seeds and we will push the boundaries a little bit until it becomes the norm. And this is why we've always pushed the people to go back to their home circles, so that we can push this phenomena more and more into the public eye through your home circuits. So indeed, I am aware that we've been doing a lot of the previous years, as you experience time, towards working towards technology. So a lot of our scientists within our side of life have been working with that type of phenomenon.
Thank you, Jimmy. Hi, Jimmy. Is it possible to work with 2 mediums at the same time if they are harmonized as one energy?
Indeed, it is entirely possible. Now, especially if we're working with the photoplasm, we can work with a multitude of mediums. Everyone who is sitting there as a sitter can potentially be a medium in their own right within that sitting.
Jimmy, have you not reincarnated because you are too busy helping your medium? Is this a part of your soul purpose plan, or could a part of your consciousness reincarnate at the same time as helping your medium if you wanted to?
So, my own experience, I have never experienced the phenomena of reincarnation. I am aware it exists because I have met personalities who are a lot more advanced and knowledgeable than myself, and that tell me the process does exist. But my own personal journey, I've never experienced it. The best way it has been described to me is it's not the personality that returns to your side of life. So Jimmy, the personality I speak to you as now, will not return to your side of life. But another aspect of me said will return to your side of life. The purpose of this is the soul's job is to expand the infinite. Now, the more you experience, the more there is to experience, thereby expanding the infinite. So one day along my journey, I will become aware of my different aspects, the different lives I've been, the different personalities I've been. But I will still retain the individual and the personality I am now as well. So indeed, the more you progress, the more of those personalities you pick up. So eventually, we need to get to the last step. You will be aware of every life that has ever existed as your life. And you would have all those different perspectives. But from my own personal experience, I've not experienced reincarnation.
Thank you. Is a part of what you are describing what we refer to as Akashic records.
Indeed, now this is the record of everything you will carry out throughout your physical life, every experience you will gain and how it will be done. And indeed, it is a reference guide to us when working with your cellular life. For example, if you went for healing, the guide who'd be working with you would be checking your records to see what can and can't be done within your energy, depending on what it is you've chosen to go through. I am giving the axe here. I've got to return the medium to you.
Oh, we had 29 more questions, Jimmy. You have to come back another time, though.
I definitely try. We speak in another love inside. You take it with us.
Thank you so much. See ya.